Hafadang, good afternoon, everyone. Today, we are recognizing the observance of National Prisoners of War Missing in Action of Recognition Day. I'd like to thank my colleagues for joining us today. We have Senator Ada, Senator Brown, Senator Moylan, Senator Chris Duenas, who's also the minority leader, Senator Amanda Shelton, who is our legislative secretary, and I hope I didn't miss anyone. And then we also have Mr. Ronald Kinata, who is the deputy of the Guam Veteran Affairs Office, or the acting director, forgive me, and then Lucia Perez. So thank you for being with us today. Okay, I'll just go ahead and start with the resolution. Relative to recognizing the observance of National Prisoners of War, POW, Missing in Action Recognition Day, and to commemorating and remembering all those who are imprisoned in times of conflict and those who remain missing. Be it resolved by the Committee on Rules of Iminatrantai Sais Nalisatorn Guahan, whereas National Prisoners of War Missing in Action Recognition Day began with President Jimmy Carter signing a proclamation in 1979 to commemorate the thousands of troops who were taken as prisoners of war or were missing in action during the Vietnam War. And since then, each subsequent president has issued an annual proclamation commemorating the third Friday of every September as National POW MIA Recognition Day. And every year, a national level ceremony is held. And every year, a national level ceremony is held on National POW MIA Recognition Day, featuring members and high-ranking officials from each branch of U.S. military service. And it is conducted at the Pentagon, on military installations, on ships at sea, and at state capitals, schools, veteran facilities across the globe. And National POW MIA Recognition Day seeks to commemorate those who had endured the mental and physical hardship of being a prisoner of war, in remembrance of the many who remain missing and unrecoverable, and that we will never forget them and their service and sacrifice, and that we stand behind them and those who serve in the interest of the nation. And Guam and the United States will observe National POW MIA Recognition Day on Friday, September 17. And whereas the National League of Families of American Prisoners and Missing in Southeast Asia, also known legally as the National League of POW MIA Families, was formed in the late 1960s. Their mission is to obtain the release of all prisoners, the full possible accounting of the missing, and the repatriation of all recoverable remains of those who served during the Vietnam War. The organization's ideals and mission have spread throughout the nation, further extending the demand for accountability and repatriation to those imprisoned and missing in other conflicts. And presently, more than 81,600 Americans remain missing from some of the world's major conflicts. 72,400 from World War II, 7,555 from the Korean War, 1,584 from the Vietnam War, 126 from the Cold War, and 5 from the Gulf Wars. Of the 81,600, 75% of the losses are located in the Indo-Pacific, and over 41,000 of the missing are presumed lost at sea. And despite our current knowledge of these numbers, there are still many more lives that are unaccounted for. And through the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agencies, which is also known as DPAA's mission of providing the fullest possible accounting for missing personnel to their families and the nation. The United States is making great strides in fulfilling its vision of maximizing the number of missing personnel accounted for while ensuring timely, accurate information is provided to their families. Upholding their core values of compassion, integrity, respect, and innovation, and as an island community, we owe a debt of gratitude to those who have suffered and are missing from conflict. As many servicemen during World War II were taken as prisoners of war in the effort to liberate our island following the Japanese occupation, and a total of 487 individuals were taken as prisoners of war on Guam in December 1941. of which 19 of them died when they were transported to Japan. And were it not for their heroic effort and sacrifices, our island would not be what it is today. And it is through them we can honor and remember them. Today, many of our island's community have served in the United States Armed Forces and continue to do so that they may protect the nation's interest, take up the mantle of responsibility for those who have served before them, and honor the memory of those who have suffered and sacrificed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Committee on Rules of Imanay Shantai Nalisaturan Guahan does hereby, on behalf of Ilas Laturan Guahan and the people of Guam, recognize National Prisoners of War Missing in Action Recognition Day to commemorate and remember all those who were imprisoned in times of conflict and who remain missing, and that they, as well as their suffering and sacrifice, will never be forgotten by the people of Guam. And be it further that the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Committee on Rules certify, and the Legislative Secretary attest to, the adoption hereof, and the copies of the same be thereafter transmitted to Major General Esther Agigi, Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard, and Director, Guam Department of Military Affairs, to retired U.S. Air Force Senior Master Sergeant P. Tim Uggan, Director of the Guam Veteran Affairs Office, and to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leonguero y Magahagan Guahan, duly and regularly adopted by Imanay Trantaisais Nalisatuan Guahan on the 17th day of September 2021. I'd like to, at this time, welcome the Acting Director of the Guam Veteran Affairs Office, Mr. Kanata. If you'd like to perhaps say some words, comments on the work that you've been doing to assist our veterans.
Senator, and good afternoon, everyone. It's very fitting to be a participant of this proclamation, as we had also attended the governor's proclamation last week. As a veteran myself, it is very touching and very it's a very critical issue of our veterans, and for this gesture right here, this is very much appreciative of us veterans that are still living, and to remember those that have gone before us and those who are still missing in action, as well as veterans who have been through the riches as a prisoner of war. Thank you very much for that proclamation. And again, veterans will always be veterans, and veterans are very dear to our heart and to our island for all the sacrifices that they have made to this island and our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kinata. And I'd now like to invite Ms. Lucia Perez to give any remarks.
Thank you, Senators, for the opportunity, and to echo what Director Kanata was mentioning. On behalf of all of our veterans and their families, undang ko na si Jesus maasi. And as we remember those who were prisoners of war and those who are still missing, we continue to ask for prayers and to remember not only the veterans themselves, the prisoners of war, those missing, but their families, for they too hold them dear to their hearts, will never forget, and they have that hope. And hopefully the military will continue in pressing forward in ensuring that those that can be identified are identified and returned, so these families will have closures. That is sorely needed. Thank you once again.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Speaker Therese Lahi if she'd like to make any comments at this time.
Just like to thank those at the Veterans Affairs for their work in this regard, and also their work in when we do have people from Guam who have been identified, for example, those in Hawaii who are now being identified and brought back to Guam, for your assistance in the funeral services for these people and recognizing their service and celebrating their return, but also, allowing our community to join in commemoration of their service and sacrifice. And I echo your sentiments about the families who had waited for years and waited, and many of them passed on as well. But we will continue to do as much as we can to remember them, to recognize them. And I want to thank the sponsor of this resolution for allowing the legislature to do this in a very formal way. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd now like to invite the Acting Vice Speaker, Senator Shelton, for your remarks.
Thank you very much, Senator Nelson, for this resolution and for allowing us to pay honor to these individuals for their service, and especially to their families who we remember and we lift up in prayer. And thank you very much to the folks here for your work to continue serving our veterans and these families. Especially, I'd like to take a moment for us to remember the newest person who was identified from Guam, who is Navy Steward's Mate, Second Class Jesus Francisco Garcia, who was 21 years old and found recently, who will be laid to rest next month, and to give our condolences to his family. And we're thankful for this work that all of you are doing to be able to bring closure to these individuals and help us never to forget them. Siduos Masi.
Thank you, Vice Speaker. Senator Adams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to, again, thank you for introducing this resolution, that we never forget those who have gave their lives and those who continue to be missing and unaccounted for, and keeping their families in our prayers. At least we never forget, and that we always remember and continue to be grateful that we live the freedom we live today because of those who have sacrificed for us previously. So again, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Adams. Minority Leader, Senator Chris Duenas, would you like to make some remarks at this time?
Siduos Masi, Madam Chair, and thank you for allowing me to be co-sponsor to this very important resolution. Of course, this very solemn presentation today. I want to thank Director Kitagua and Ms. Perez for being here. There's of course the saying consistently that some gave, all gave some gave all. Some are still waiting to come home. And so, they also say that in a civilization, in a culture, you're tested by how you treat the deceased. And obviously, a country and an island that constantly does everything that it can to bring our people home is a demonstration, I think, of who we are as a people. Once again, I'm so thankful for all of the veterans and all of those who have fought to secure our freedom and the ability to be here today. And so thank you once again, Madam Chair, for inviting me, and also for this excellent presentation of this resolution.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Senator Brown, are there some remarks you'd like to make at this time?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just to echo all the comments that all of you have made with regards to this issue, I think it's important always to remember, because there are families that don't have their loved ones to grieve over and put to rest their sense of loss, at least in this time and in this world. So I think it's important we continue to remember those sacrifices. Remembering is important, and keeping them in our minds and in our hearts and recognizing them publicly is very important. So thank you so much for the introduction of this resolution and the presentation. Thank you also to those that participated today.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Senator James Moylan, would you like to make any comments at this time?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the resolution. And I know you take this one to heart, being a soldier yourself and still serving our country and our island. So thank you for your service too. And this is a very honorable thing we do for our missing in actions and our those wanting to bring them home as well, but to remember them for the honor that they did and sacrificed for our country and for our island. Senator Adams and myself are prior soldiers too, so we also take this to heart as well. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Moylan. And Senator Mary Camacho Torres, are there any comments you would like to make or remarks at this time?
I just want to thank you for raising awareness. History is so critical that we always maintain the history and we always understand the significance of sacrifices that others have made before us that make our lives what they are today. So I just stand in support today, and also offer my prayers always to those people who have lost ones or people that they don't have the good fortune of at least laying to rest once and for all. But it's just Masi.
Thank you, Senator Torres. No, I'd like to thank the work that you do, Ms. Perez, and Acting Director Kinata for our veterans locally. We have been blessed to be able to receive some of the remains of those from previous conflicts that are island residents and locals, and to see their lineage. Also, many of them chose to join the military like their fathers or their grandfathers. And so during these solemn times, we want to stand in unison with the community and those who have family members that are still, who have not been recovered, their remains have not been recovered, or there's a possibility that they're still alive. We stand and unite with them and to let the community know that we will never forget, and that we commit to bringing continued attention to this issue until the last soldier, the last airman, our last sailor, our last Marine is brought home. So thank you for the work that you do, the dignity that you, in the manner that you care for our returning prisoners of war or their remains and those missing in action. So thank you for your commitment. And you will be getting, you'll also be getting one of these. So it'll be hung up in your office. So thank you very much for everything that you do. And thank you, senators, for co-sponsoring. You see the huge support of the legislature when it comes to these matters. A lot of them are previous members. We also have Senator Pito, who was not ever able to make it, but he is also a Vietnam veteran. And so, that conflict was a very, we would call it hot and heavy conflict, right? And so he really tremendously gave a lot of himself to protect our freedoms. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. We will now conclude this resolution presentation. Take care, everyone, and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.